The one stream that'll actually work for me. Uh, well, at least I'm doing well on one thing. Hey there, peeps. Detective Uwu here. Um, yeah. So last week I actually got over 100 wins. Pretty damn well over 100 wins. I went 11-4 last week. Um, Bringing my total to 107, 56 and 1. I know they don't put the tie here, but consider that a tie, that Green Bay Dallas game back in like week 4 a tie. Um yeah, it's just a very very interesting week, and as a Chiefs fan, I am not really feeling the greatest right now. But who knows? Maybe it'll get better. Kind of reviewing a little bit of what happened. Everyone, what everyone thought would happen on Thursday Night Football happened. Um, the Madrid game was as good as people thought it was gonna be. A 16-13 very very ugly win for the Dolphins. Um, the Panthers did season sweep the Falcons. Bryce Young went off in this game. Um, the Texans also picked up another ugly win over the Titans. It was not pretty. Um, the Bears needing a bit of a comeback to beat the Vikings this past week, but somehow, some way, this team is in first place in the NFC North. That's a bit of a terrifying thought for some people, like the Packers, for example, because well, they won. It was very ugly. They needed a little bit of help at the end with some picks, but I wouldn't feel comfortable if I'm Green Bay right now. It seems like they've been getting a lot of ugly wins this week, or this entire year, actually. The Chargers. This was the first one that I kind of. Of course. Of course, the Chargers were gonna charger it up again. Uh, they get blown out by Jacksonville, 35-6. The Bills beat the Buccaneers by 12, 44-32. A bit of an offensive victory for the Bills. The Bengals got blown out by the Steelers. I probably should have picked Pittsburgh, but who knows? Oh well. The Rams beat the Seahawks barely, but neither team had their greatest game. And Sam Darnold threw what, like 4, 5, or 6 picks, and the Rams still won by only 2. So both these teams will bounce back. Especially the Seahawks after that ugly win. The 49ers took care of business against the Cardinals despite Jacoby Brissett setting an NFL record for the most completions in a single game. That's insanity. The Ravens picking up a win against the Browns. They needed a little bit of a late surge to overtake them, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. The Chiefs, there was no blocked field goal this time. The Chiefs fall to the Broncos in Denver, 22-19. The Eagles, they keep getting ugly wins. I don't get this team. They keep getting ugly wins. I don't understand it. The Eagles picking up a win over the Lions, 16-9 on Sunday Night Football, and then the Cowboys just completely routing the Raiders, 33-16. I thought it was going to be a little bit more points by the Raiders in this one, so the 49 kind of I overshot with the 60 prediction. The total was actually 49 points in that game. But overall, I'm happy with how I did. I probably should have picked the Steelers, though. I probably could have gotten. Well. On to week 12, though. We got 14 games this week. We got a couple of good NFC NFC, like, or not NFC, just divisional matchups a little bit. We got some interesting, very interesting games. Um, as you can see, a lot of these may be kind of sluggish as well. So we'll see how things go. First of all, starting off tonight at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. You got the 7-3 Buffalo Bills taking on the 5-5 Houston Texans. The Bills went into this past week needing a bounce back, and they got it in a pretty damn good way. 19 for 30 for Josh Allen, 317 total yards. 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, but all in all, it was a pretty good day offensively for the Bills. Taking advantage of a bit of a injury-riddled Buccaneers squad. Yeah, it was a good day for the Bills. And on the other side of the ball, you got the Texans. I believe, yeah, they had a very ugly win against the Titans. They needed a little bit of help. A little late in the second half, but Mills actually had a fairly decent game. 26 for 41. Yeah, the completion percentage wasn't there. 274 total yards though, so give him a little bit of credit for that, through the air at least. And yeah, so both of these teams had some pretty decent games. The Bills, of course, getting the bounce back victory they so desperately needed. The Texans kind of building off the Jacksonville comeback victory with an ugly win over the Titans. The problem for the Texans, though, is that the Bills are kind of peaking at the right time. I know they're still in second place in the division, and the way the Patriots are playing right now, it's going to be very, very hard for the Bills to catch them. But I think the Bills are still a strong enough team where they'll easily earn like a wild card berth, or maybe even overtake New England by winning their second matchup later on in the season. Meanwhile, for the Texans, they're still missing C.J. Stroud. That offensive line is still terrible. Yeah, it's just not going to be a very fun Thursday night game. I'd be very shocked if the Texans pulled off an upset here. But I am going to go with the Bills. They needed that bounce back win over the Buccaneers last week. They got it. Now they're looking to build off of it and continue to roll. And that's exactly what they're going to do. I got the Bills on Thursday night. Starting off the noon slate on Sunday, though. Thank God there's no more freaking... what is it? Foreign games. Or international games is what they're called. Thank Christ. But starting off the Sunday slate, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at 6-4, taking on the Chicago Bears sitting at 7-3. The Steelers manhandled the Bengals. They did not want a repeat of that Thursday night football game earlier this season. It was pretty dominant for the most part. However, there was a bit of an issue in that game. Aaron Rodgers was taken out of the game. He had a fractured left wrist, said, at least according to Mike Tomlin. So who knows if he's even going to be starting in this game. Mason Rudolph had to take over in the second half of the beatdown in Cincinnati. Which is kind of sad because the whole I still own you thing is going to be ringing in everybody's heads with Aaron Rodgers returning to Chicago. We'll see if he plays, but I think the Steelers have a little bit of more problems though. I still am not entirely sure how that offense is going to be handling, because with Rodgers for like the past couple of weeks they've struggled. They really have, and that defense that's usually been dominant, led by T.J. Watt, has been awfully silent this entire year. So it's been very, very it was a very, very bad year for the Steelers defense to go kind of quiet. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, you got the Chicago Bears, who have somehow, out of their asses, pulled a freaking 3-game winning streak. They've won um they've won 7 of their last 8 games and are sitting atop of the NFC North. I'm as confused as you are. The Bears. I guess coaching really does matter in this day and age, because man, the Bears have turned a corner since getting Ben Johnson over the offseason. And yeah, the Bears have been looking really, really good, and they may actually be a legitimate threat in the NFC this year. Who knows? First things first, though, they got to take care of Pittsburgh at home. I'm a little scared for the Steelers defense, because they have not really shown to be dominant as they once were. But if they actually have a really good game this week, there might be a chance that they slow down that very, very red hot Chicago offense. On the other side of the ball, the Bears defense, they've been fine, but again, the offense for Pittsburgh, I'm still questionable about, especially if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing this week. So I'm gonna give it to the Chicago Bears. I would not be surprised if this was a close game, but I have very, very difficult time seeing Pittsburgh take this one, just because of their issues on both sides of the ball. And yeah, it's just gonna be a very, very, very interesting game. And who knows? Maybe they'll hype up the whole Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears thing again. I don't know. Up next, though, you got the New England Patriots sitting at 9-2, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 3-7. Well, NFL, if you really wanted the Chiefs dynasty to end, you should have specified that you didn't want the Patriots one to come back, because holy shit, they are sitting at 9-2 right now, and they are looking dangerous. The Patriots, laying a bit of a beat down on the Jets on Thursday Night Football. It took a bit for them to get rolling a little bit, but still, a pretty damn good game by the Patriots. May went 25 for 34, 281 total yards. He got a TD thrown. It's gonna be. It may be the Patriots' time to rise again, and I'm very, very scared. As for the Bengals, that was an ugly performance against Pittsburgh. Yeah, Joe Flacco's really gonna help you guys out a lot, Cincinnati. You get the whole Joe Flacco experience, and it's just not gonna be great whatsoever. Also, hello, Tailsco and Zero. I'm sorry I haven't said hi to you guys yet, but this should be an easy win for the Patriots. I would not. I at the same time, though, I would not be surprised if this team just somehow found a way to struggle. Because hey, they've been riding a good high for so long. Maybe this is their letdown week. Who knows? But I think they can take care of business against Cincinnati. I'd more be looking forward to like future games, like against Buffalo, or against some of the other tougher competition on the schedule, like the Ravens. But yeah, I don't think this is a trap game. I really don't. But who knows? The teams have been proving me wrong before, because this is the exact same matchup that we got last season to open up the year, where New England upset Cincinnati on opening day, and that's what sent Cincinnati down into a spiral a little bit. So who knows? Maybe Cincinnati's gonna deal some revenge this week. Then, you got the 2-9 New York Giants taking on the 6-4 Detroit Lions. The Giants. I'm visibly shaking my head. Jameis Winston actually had a fairly decent game. 19 for 29 for 201 yards. But he also threw one of the interception that he did throw was the most crucial one. You're really you're wondering, Could this not, like with Jackson Dart, with Saquon, or not with Saquon, with Cam Scatterboo, could this offense actually beat Green Bay? That's the big question, but you just never know. I mean, do you really have hope for the Giants? I guess because I guess they are gonna now get a pretty decent first round pick, whether it's like probably like a top 5 pick at this point. Maybe you have some hope for the Giants because what you've seen from Dart, from Scatterboo, from the rookies have looked really good, and you fired Brian Daboll, so maybe that's all you're hoping for at this point. As for the Lions, they're sitting at 6-4. They need a bounce back game after that ugly offensive performance on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, it was just not great. Goff had a decent game. It really did. But the problem is, the third down efficiency was also terrible in that game for the Lions. When the Eagles also had a terrible third down efficiency. And you tried to go for it 5 times on 4th down, and you couldn't convert on any one of them. Yeah, that's the issue. That's like a big issue. I get the very aggressive play calling by Dan Campbell, but still, if the offense isn't really going to be doing anything, Jesus Christ, going for it 5 times and not converting on any one of them is it's bad. It's really bad. But they need a bounce back game this week. New York's the perfect team to pick that up against. I got to go with Detroit at home. It's going to be a very, very interesting game overall. See maybe if the Giants keep it close or if the Lions just run away with it. Who knows? But yeah, I got to go with Detroit here. They desperately need a bounce back game, and they're going to get it here. Up next, you got the Minnesota Vikings sitting at 4-6, taking on the Green Bay Packers sitting at 6-3-1. The Vikings, oh my God, you had them. You frickin' had them. JJ though, it's just not looking like a good quarterback. He is so inconsistent right now. I know it's his first year starting, and he just got back from injuries, but I can't tell if he's good or not. And right now he's looking like he's not. Oh my God. And of course, you lose on a game-winning field goal as well, as time expired. Oh, Lordy. You needed a comeback, you had him, and then you blew it. Ugh. It was just not a great game overall for the Vikings until that 4th quarter. My goodness. Yeah, it's just going to be a rough season for Minnesota. I kind of saw that coming after that 14-3 season, but eesh. It's just looking like no hope for the Vikings at this point. As for the Packers, they need to get their shit together, because they need to stop having these close games against teams, because they should have blown out New York. They really should have blown out New York. And it's just frustrating to see, as any Packers fan would probably tell you, it's frustrating to see this team just have to claw, nail, and tooth just to beat these below average teams. It's infuriating. And let me tell you, with Chicago surpassing them as well, and looking red hot, the Packers need to really bounce back and respond, especially because they have the Bears twice. They have the Bears twice on their schedule still. Once at home, once in Chicago. They have the Lions on Thanksgiving, and then it's their first game against Chicago. Then they go to Denver. Then they go to Chicago again. Then they go to Baltimore. This game against the Vikings or the Packers, this is the week they need to figure shit out because they have a brutal schedule ahead of them. And if they can't figure this out, like with the offensive consistency, then they might not even make the postseason. It's that bad. I am going to give it to Green Bay nonetheless, but as I said, if the offensive stuff does not improve this week, you might want to count the Packers out. Just because it's going to be brutal going into these final, what did I say, it's going to be brutal in the next 5 games. So, Green Bay, I wish you luck, but you need to figure this shit out. Next up, though, you got the 7-3 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 1-9 Tennessee Titans. I'm almost tempted just to say Seattle move on, but I gotta at least talk about them a little bit. Seattle, they need a bounce back game, just like a couple of teams that we're gonna come to later on and that I've already discussed about. That was heartbreaking, considering Darnold threw 4 picks, and the Seahawks almost still won that game. They outgained the Rams in total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, first downs. They were great on third down. They converted their one fourth down opportunity. They controlled time of possession, but they also turned the ball over 4 times. That's just a tough way to lose that game. You beat the Rams in pretty much every box score possible. But Sam Darnold, just Sam Darnold. Ugh. They need a bounce back game, and luckily they're facing a team that really needs the tank for their draft choice this year. The Titans almost blew it and won the game against Houston, but thankfully they tightened up and lost that game. Cam Ward had a fairly decent game, 24 for 37, 194 yards. He did have a touchdown, no picks. So, but yeah, it's just a lost season in Tennessee. They need to figure some stuff out on the offseason. Meanwhile, on the other side, Seattle is going to be trying to continue to push for potentially catching the Rams again. I got the Seahawks in this game. They need a bounce back game desperately after losing to the Rams in heartbreaking fashion. But yeah, it's going to be a long, long season. And if the Titans somehow make this close, everyone's going to be on watch. Next up, oh boy, you got the Indianapolis Colts sitting at 8-2, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 5-5. That is, I wish I never had to say that in my life at this point, but yeah. The Colts, they had the bye after going to Berlin to beat the Falcons, so they're well rested. They are hoping to get back on track and whatnot to continue rolling. They still have the AFC South they still have the AFC South in their hands. It's in their own hands now. And yeah, it's going to be very tough for any team to catch them. As for the Chiefs, that probably took any chance. That loss to Denver took any chance of the Chiefs winning the West. Oh, that was an ugly game. Ugly offensively. They couldn't get anything going for that entire game until like one drive in the second half. That was pretty much it. That was not pretty to say the least. And then the defense collapsed at the very worst possible time. Yeah. It was not great. And suddenly, you're sitting 3.5 games behind the Broncos, and you still lose that tiebreaker. So you're technically 4 games behind Denver. That's tough. That's not easy. Unless the Chiefs do something miraculous, it's going to be very, very difficult to catch them at this point. So, yes, they do play a lot better at home. Yes, they do have Josh Simmons back. Yes, they still have the offensive weaponry. But right now, the biggest the biggest problem for the Chiefs right now, there's two of them actually. Coaching and then Patrick Mahomes just not playing up to his level. Because we've all seen what Patrick Mahomes can do. And it's just frustrating just not seeing him do what he needs to do in moments like those in Denver. And for the coaching, they need to quit abandoning the run. They need to run the ball a whole lot more. You got Pacheco. You got freaking Kareem Hunt in the backfield. Why are you not using him a lot more? That's my question. So this game against Indy is going to be really tough. Unless the Chiefs start to run the ball more, this might be the first week I pick against them. I'm going Indianapolis in this game. Just because I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be able to go off a little bit. And it's going to be tough to stop him. And for the Chiefs, unless they get that run game going again, I don't see them really beating the Colts this week. It's a tough thing to say, but ugh. We'll see what happens. This is the game that really decides if the Chiefs can make some noise or if they may potentially be on life support going into the Thanksgiving game. Up next, though, we're halfway done. You got the New York Jets, sitting at 2-8, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, sitting at 5-5. The Jets, that 2-game winning streak was fun while it lasted. Because, oh my God, they shat the bed on Thursday night, just like I thought they would. Justin Fields was benched in the game. They put in they benched Justin Fields after this game. So who is starting for the Jets? Let me check that real quick. Tyrod Taylor. So it's gonna be Tyrod Taylor taking over the starting duties. Yeah, good luck with your chances there. And for the Baltimore Ravens, I believe, they held off the Browns in a kind of ugly game. It wasn't the greatest game. Jackson had 2 picks. He could get 200 yards on the passing game. But luckily for them, they faced the Browns offense as well, who was struggling just as much, if not worse. So the Ravens get away with one this past week. This week, though, I think things should be different. They're playing at home. They're playing against the Jets, who just got manhandled by the Patriots. I got to go with the Ravens in this game. I still think they're the hotter team. I think they could potentially continue to go off and make that comeback against Pittsburgh for the division. So we'll see how things go. That was our final noon game. Going to the 3:05 games. Yeah, first off, this is disgusting. You got the Cleveland Browns sitting at 2-8, taking on the new version of the bubonic plague, the Black Death, the Las Vegas Raiders, sitting at 2-8 as well. This is disgusting. The Cleveland Browns, I just mentioned it a little bit ago, they also had struggles on offense. They traded out Dylan Gabriel for Shedeur Sanders, and now, with a little bit of playing time under his belt, Sanders has the chance to make some noise this week. He is going to be starting this week, finally, for the first time in his career. So we'll see if all that preseason hype was for nothing or if it was legit. Taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, that was ugly on Monday. That was an ugly Monday night game. Geno Smith, 27 for 42, 238 yards, It was fine on his end. He wasn't the greatest. The problem, though, the problem for the Raiders is everything at this point. That defense could not stop Dallas to save their lives. Geno could not lead the offense to a whole lot of success, and yeah, it's just really, really bad for the Raiders. And this is coming from someone who thought the Raiders were actually going to be somewhat decent. I was thinking maybe they were going to get like 5 or 6 wins this year. Now I'm thinking maybe they might not even win a game, if not one more game the rest of the way. It's that ugly. So, with that in mind, I got to go with the Cleveland Browns. Not only, I mean, yes, both offenses are questionable. The Raiders is just flat out terrible. But the Browns defense is just miles better than the Raiders, pun intended. And yes, it's just a really tough time for Vegas right now. The Browns need kind of a little bit of momentum from their starting QB or potential starting franchise QB to get out the gates, get his first career start and first career win. I think that's where the Browns shine through. Give me the Browns in that one. Next up, you got the other 305 game. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars sitting at 6-4, taking on the Arizona Cardinals sitting at 3-7. The Jaguars. Yeah, that was a blowout. That was a complete game by Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. It wasn't really Lawrence that was carrying the load, though. And the rushing game was actually pretty damn decent. Oh my god. It was just that Jacksonville was controlling the clock and the Chargers were just struggling to get anything going on offense. It was a very, very difficult time for the LA Chargers, and Jacksonville just pounced on it. And that's what good teams do. So, now you got the Jaguars sitting at 6-4, and with the Chiefs losing last week, they're actually in a pretty damn good place to be holding a wild card berth right now. Which I never thought I'd be saying that after freaking the start of the year. But crazy shit happens this year. I have no explanation for any of it. Speaking of crazy shit, of course the Cardinals are going to be the one team to have their quarterback set the record for the most amount of completions in a single game and still get blown out by nearly 20 points. They are the only team that is capable of doing that. It's just frustrating for Cardinals fans at this point. I hope you guys get some shit figured out in the offseason. Maybe you move on from Kyler Murray at this point. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a long season for the Cardinals, but right now you go to you host Jacksonville. I don't really expect much difference. I gotta give it to the Jaguars in this game. Yeah. Jacksonville, 6-4. They're probably looking a lot better right now. I would not be surprised if the Cardinals somehow made this a close game. But the issue is, Jacksonville's just a lot better than San Francisco, in my opinion. And yeah, the way the Cardinals have looked, they could still play great and still somehow get blown out. So, gotta go with Jacksonville in this game. Fine. Next up, you got the 325 games, including the apparent game of the week. You got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles sitting at 8-2, the Cowboys sitting at 4-5-1. The Eagles are just winning ugly games, but hey, you're not complaining if you're an Eagles fan right now. You're still in the driver's seat for the division. by nearly three games or so. And your only other true competition this year that you anticipated lost their starting QB is getting manhandled by other teams. So you're sitting comfortable if you're an Eagles fan. So you can't really complain a whole lot. As for the Cowboys, that was a pretty damn good performance by the Cowboys. Granted, it was against the Raiders defense and the Raiders offense, who both suck complete ass. But hey, you won't be complaining at this point of the year in Dallas, especially for freaking Jerry Jones, still thinking you have a chance at the playoffs. But anyways, it's in Dallas. I know Dallas made a very, very damn close game against Philly earlier this year in week 1 on the kickoff game. The thing is, though, Philly is winning these games. Dallas isn't. And I know I've been picking against the Eagles to finally lose a game, and that's maybe what's been driving the luck. So you know what? Just for you, buddy Andrew, I'm picking the Eagles this week. I think the Eagles do have a legitimate shot of blowing out the Cowboys. I would not be surprised if this is a close game. I know it's a divisional game, so they usually are. But I think the Eagles probably have the better team on paper. I know Dallas plays also better at home. But still, I think the Eagles will have a pretty damn good plan going in this game. I think maybe this is finally where Saquon goes off a little bit. And who knows, maybe A.J. Brown gets a lot more receptions. Maybe he'll start liking his teammates more. The last afternoon game. You got the Atlanta Falcons sitting at 3-7, taking on the New Orleans Saints sitting at 2-8. This is disgusting again. The Falcons, of course, they're the team that lets Bryce Young to have the best career start of his career. Oh my God, they needed the bounce back game, but something told me they weren't gonna get it, and they didn't. Yikes. As for the Saints, they're still trying to get the number 1 overall pick. It's almost a lost cause for the Saints as well. Their last game was 2 weeks ago because they had the bye. That was an ugly win over Carolina, though. A very, very ugly win. But you'll take wins whenever you can get them. Keep pulling off the upsets. And I think they're actually going to get it here. I got the Saints here at home beating the Falcons. The Falcons are kind of spiraling in the wrong direction, and I know they probably should be getting this win. But I said that last week too, and I still went with the Panthers. So I'm going with my gut instinct again. I'm going with the Saints. Hey, you got a 2-game winning streak, New Orleans. At least that's what I'm predicting. But we'll see how things turn out, because this so far has just been an ugly year for both teams. Finally, our 2 primetime games we have not covered yet. The Sunday Night Football game. Oh boy, I'm so sorry. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at 6-5, taking on the Los Angeles Rams sitting at 8-2. Both of this on paper should be a very good Sunday Night Football game. The problem is one of these teams is playing on the road, is injury riddled, and is currently on a 2-game losing streak after playing 2 really good teams. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster right there. The Buccaneers. That was not a great performance at all for the Buccaneers. And yeah, suddenly things are starting to fall apart in Tampa. And especially with the Panthers on your heels, now you're really, really starting to sweat. As for the Rams, that was probably the biggest win of their season. Yes, it was not a very good win. Yeah, you completely got blown out in the box score, but Sam Darnold kind of gifted you it. So you'll take it whenever you can get it. And the Rams, they need a bit of a bounce back. The Buccaneers need a massive bounce back. Who's going to get it? I'm going with the Rams. And I genuinely think this is not going to be a close game. The Rams are just that better of a team. I legitimately think they're the best team in the league. Hands down. And the win over Seattle last week proved it. So give me the Rams on Sunday Night Football in a blowout. Finally, on Monday Night Football, You got the Carolina Panthers sitting at 6-5. Jeez, I never thought I'd be saying that at the end of the year. Taking on the San Francisco 49ers, sitting at 7-4. Oh boy. The Panthers. That was probably the best Bryce Young masterclass we may ever see. The Panthers needed every little bit of it to come back against the Falcons. They needed every single bit of it. Went into overtime. The Panthers kicked a game-winning field goal. Yes, that was it. Bryce Young. But let's talk about the stats real quick. Young, 31 of his 45 passes were completed. 448 total yards. 3 touchdowns. No picks. Quarterback rating, 123.2. Holy shit. Where has that Bryce Young been all year? As for the 49ers, yeah, and you let the opposite thing happen to you. You let Jacoby Brissett make NFL history. But it doesn't matter because it's still the Cardinals and you blew them out anyway. Purdy had himself a pretty damn good game. I think the Niners were missing that a little bit. And it's as much as fun as it would be to pick the Panthers to win this game, especially with the 49ers still looking a little bit shaky. The problem for Carolina right now is that San Francisco is starting to get a lot of their key pieces back. You got Purdy back last week. You may be starting to see a little bit of a shift in like the injury bug a little bit. And who knows? I think you may actually get a couple more pieces back, which is great because you really need something to keep contending with teams like the Rams and Seahawks in your own division. So, as fun as it would be to pick the Panthers in this game, I'm going San Francisco. It's going to be a very, very tight game. I don't think the 49ers are like world beaters, but they could potentially get up to that point soon in the season. The total points, though, I think this could be a bit of a middle scoring game, maybe like around the 40s or 50s. So I'm gonna say 47, my favorite number for whatever reason. I have no explanation for it. 47. That's what we're going with. Because yikes, that was very interesting to say the least. But with that in mind, I think it's time we end it off stream because it is a very, very interesting time in the NFL season where I'm starting to get a little nervous for everything and whatnot. On the light here, I'm going to be doing that when the bracket comes out. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have to do some research on like what the teams are. I know like you'll have like your Ohio State, your Indiana, Texas A&M's, your Georgia's. But who knows? Especially with the Big 12. They actually may get 2 teams in this year, which would be very exciting. I'd love to see 2 teams from the Big 12 get in. But anyways, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share the channel around. It helps me grow. I promise I'm going to get shit figured out in terms of streaming. I don't think I'm going to be streaming. I may stream this week. It would probably be on Saturday if I stream. But I'm not going to stream Sunday. I'm going to figure out how to stream the next week's predictions either I do a stream or I post it, like what I did a little while ago. But I do kind of like talking things out about like how I'm like predicting these games, kind of like what the stat lines are going to be for everything. That's why I kind of like streaming these nowadays. But I wouldn't mind just picking them again like I did a few while ago. So, and then no stream the next weekend either. So, and then probably after this Saturday, if I do stream, the next time I'd be streaming would be December, unless somehow, some way, K-State gets to the Big 12 championship. Yes, that's still possible. Don't ask me how. Don't count on it being. Don't count on me being there though, because the odds are very, very unlikely. But yeah, it's gonna be a very, very interesting time for me the next few weeks. So, with that being said, see you later, peeps. Thanks for watching.